Most warriors throughout history fought to be seen. They wore bright armor, shouting their names into the wind. But in the heart of the Sahara, the most unforgiving desert on earth, there is a tribe of ghosts who chose a different path, the Tuareg, known as the Blue Men because the indigo dye of their veils eventually stains their very skin. But here's the mystery. Why would a warrior wrap his face so tightly that only his eyes remain? It isn't just a shield against the sand. For the Tuareg, the Tagelmust veil is a boundary for the soul. We live in an age that demands you share every thought, be in every room, and react to every notification. We are emotionally naked, and it's draining our power. We feel burnt out, not because we're working too hard, but because we have no boundaries. We are leaking energy into a digital desert. The Blue Men don't just survive the Sahara. They thrive in it by mastering the asuf, the silence of the void. They know that when you guard your energy and limit what you give to the world, you become untouchable. Today, we're breaking down the Tuareg's warrior code of scarcity. I'm going to show you how to build a modern iron mind by doing the one thing the modern world fears most, closing the veil. Welcome to Hypothetics. Let's find your oasis. The 5 paths of the Blue Nomad path. 1. The path of the living grave. Houses are the graves of the living. Tuareg proverb. In the heart of the Sahara, a house isn't a sanctuary, it's a target. To the Blue Nomad, a permanent structure is simply a place where a man goes to be forgotten by the wind. They carry a philosophy that cuts directly through our modern obsession with settling down and finding comfort. When the nomad passes a crumbling stone hut in the middle of the dunes, he doesn't see a shelter from the heat. He sees a prison for the spirit. He knows that walls don't just keep the storm out, they keep the soul in. He turns his back on the stone and walks into the infinite shifting horizon, because in the desert, survival is synonymous with movement. To stay still is to invite the sand to claim you. We don't live in the desert, but we are being buried just the same. We spend our lives building houses out of our rigid routines, our safe jobs, and our comfortable habits. We call it stability, but the nomad calls it a funeral. You feel burned out and unmotivated not because you're doing too much, but because you've stayed in the same mental room for too long. Your walls have become so thick that you can no longer see the opportunities waiting in the distance. Comfort isn't the reward for your hard work. It's the rust that eats your ambition. The moment you stop growing, you start decaying. Your world is full of these living graves, places where good enough went to die. The nomad's code demands a different path. Today, you must identify the one area of your life where you become too comfortable and too still. Step out of that routine. Abandon the walls of your own making. If you want to feel the fire of life again, you have to stop living in a grave. Rule number 1, move or be buried. Path 2, the path of lethal excess. That which you do not need will kill you. Tuareg proverb. The Blue Nomad stands over his camel, preparing for a journey across 1,000 miles of nothingness. He picks up a heavy, ornate silver bowl, a relic of a life left behind. It's beautiful, it's valuable, and it is heavy. Without a word, he drops it into the sand. To a traveler in the Sahara, wealth that you cannot carry is not an asset. It is an anchor. In the desert, every extra pound of weight is a drop of sweat you can't afford to lose. The nomad knows that the more you own, the more you are owned by the fear of losing it. He travels light, not because he is poor, but because he is fast. Your desert isn't made of sand, but it is just as deadly. It's a digital wasteland of lethal excess. You're carrying 1,000 friends you don't know, 50 open browser tabs you'll never read, and a dozen half-hearted goals that you'll never finish. We are the most connected and resourced generation in history. Yet, we are paralyzed. This mental clutter is the extra weight that is killing your momentum. You feel heavy, sluggish, and distracted because you refuse to drop the things that no longer serve your mission. You are trying to cross the desert with a backpack full of stones, wondering why you're exhausted before noon. Efficiency is the byproduct of elimination. To the Tuareg, survival isn't about what you can add to your life. It's about what you have the courage to subtract. If a habit, a relationship, or a piece of technology isn't providing the water you need to reach your oasis, it is a liability. Every time you say yes to something unimportant, you are saying no to your own survival. Look at your life through the eyes of the nomad. What are you carrying just for the sake of appearances? What are you holding on to out of habit? Drop it in the sand. Be lean. Be fast. If it doesn't help you survive the heat, it has to go. Rule number 2, travel light or die heavy. Path 3, the path of blind action. Better to walk without knowing where than to sit doing nothing. Tuareg proverb. The horizon is vanishing. A sandstorm, a wall of dust and wind is erasing the landmarks the nomad uses to navigate. He has no map, no compass, and the stars are hidden behind a veil of grit. In this moment, most would crouch down and wait for the storm to pass, but in the deep Sahara, that is a death sentence. To stay still is to let the dunes bury you while you're still breathing. The blue nomad chooses a direction and starts walking. He doesn't know if the oasis is 5 miles or 50 miles away, but he knows one thing with absolute certainty. Direction is a gift given only to those who are already moving. In your life, this storm is called analysis paralysis. You're waiting for the perfect plan, the perfect degree, or the perfect moment to start your business, your fitness journey, or your creative project. You sit in your room, staring at the dust, hoping for a sign that never comes. While you wait, the sand is rising. The modern world has taught us that we need to see the finish line before we take the first step, but the desert doesn't work that way. Clarity isn't found in a book or a brainstorm session. Clarity is a reward for courage. The most successful people aren't those with the best plans. They are those with the best momentum. When you move, the world reacts. New people appear, new information is revealed, and the path begins to form under your feet. You don't find the path by looking for it. You find it by walking until it manifests. If you are paralyzed by doubt, stop thinking and start stepping. It is better to make a mistake at a high speed than to be perfect while standing still. Action is the only cure for the storm. Rule number 3, movement creates the map. Path 4, the shifting rhythm. When the music changes, the rhythm of the dance must change. Tuareg proverb. The wind shift is subtle at first, a slight cooling of the air, a change in the scent of the dust. The Blue Nomad doesn't fight it. He doesn't complain that the wind was supposed to blow from the east, nor does he try to walk against the gale to prove his strength. He simply adjusts. He shifts his weight, changes the wrap of his veil, and alters his trajectory. He knows that the desert is an ever-changing masterpiece of chaos. To the nomad, loyalty to a dead strategy isn't honor, it's suicide. He dances with the desert because he knows he cannot control the band. Most of us are still trying to dance to a song that ended years ago. We cling to the way things used to be in our careers, our relationships, and our self-image. You might be holding on to a business model that worked years ago, or a version of yourself that existed before a major life setback. When the world changes, when the market shifts, when a relationship fails, or when your health takes a turn, your ego tells you to dig in your heels. It tells you that changing is quitting. But the desert teaches us that the only thing that doesn't change is a corpse. Rigidity is the ultimate weakness. In the modern world, your ability to pivot is more valuable than your ability to plan. If you feel frustrated and out of sync with your life, it's likely because you are still using an old rhythm for a new reality. The music has changed, but you're still doing the same steps. True warrior discipline isn't about stubbornness, it's about fluid adaptation. You must be willing to burn your old blueprints the moment the terrain shifts. Stop arguing with the wind and start adjusting your sails. Rule number 4, adapt or be erased. Path 5, the 3 T's of reality. The first T is bitter like death. The second is sweet like life. The third is soft like love. Tuareg proverb. The day is over. The Blue Nomad sits by a small fire of desert brush, performing the ritual of the 3 T's. He pours the first cup, dark, concentrated, and searingly bitter. He drinks it slowly, without a grimace. He doesn't rush to the second pot or add sugar to mask the taste. He knows that the tea is a mirror of the journey itself. You cannot truly enjoy the coolness of the night until you have endured the heat of the day. For the Tuareg, the sequence is sacred. You cannot skip the bitterness and expect the sweetness to have any meaning. In our modern world, we are addicted to the tea of life and the tea of love, but we are terrified of the tea of death. We want the successful business without the years of failure. We want the perfect physique without the grueling mornings in the gym. We want the reward without the ritual. This desire for instant sweetness is why so many people quit the moment things get difficult. They think the bitterness means they are doing something wrong, when in reality, the bitterness is the proof that they are actually on the path. It is the filter that separates the tourists from the warriors. Every great achievement follows this ancient recipe. The bitterness of the start, the confusion, the hard labor, and the sacrifice is what prepares your palate for the success that follows. If you are currently in a season of struggle, stop trying to prematurely sweeten it. Drink the first cup. Accept the hardship as the necessary tax for the life you want to lead. When you stop running from the struggle, it loses its power over you. The nomad doesn't complain about the first cup because he knows the third one is inevitable for those who stay at the fire. Rule number 5, respect the process or lose the reward. The desert does not apologize for the heat, and the wind does not wait for you to be ready. The Tuareg have thrived for centuries in the world's most hostile environment. because they stopped trying to control the desert and started mastering themselves. They understood that a warrior's true strength isn't measured by the size of his house or the weight of his gold, but by the lightness of his step and the iron of his boundaries. The modern world is your Sahara. It is a vast, shifting landscape designed to distract you, weigh you down, and bury your ambition under a mountain of digital noise and hollow comfort. But you now carry the code of the Blue Nomad. You know that movement is life, that excess is lethal, and that clarity is found only through action. You know that when the world shifts, you must shift with it, and that the bitterness of the beginning is the only way to earn the sweetness of the end. Don't leave this video and walk back into your living grave. Close the veil on the distractions that drain your energy. Guard your silence. Drop the weight that is holding you back and take that first blind step into the dunes of your own potential. The oasis isn't a place you find, it's a place you build through discipline and movement. This is Hypothetics. If these ancient laws sparked something in you, subscribe and join the tribe. We are here to bridge the gap between the legends of the past and the warriors of the modern day. Now, leave the hut. Start walking. The desert is waiting.